Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We are so pleased to have you back and joining us again for Discovery. This is the fall kickoff session for Discovery in 2023. And I'm just so pleased to have the guests we have today. They're some of our favorite people. If you haven't met me before, my name's Alison Mostowich. I'm the Director of Engagement at Efficiency Canada. I am joining you from Calgary, Alberta, home of the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Tsuut'ina, Stoney Nakoda Nations, and the Métis Nation Region 3, and many, many people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta. I am an employee of Efficiency Canada, though, and it is based at Carleton University, which is located in the traditional unceded territories of the Algonquin Nation. So if you haven't joined us before, as a reminder to people that have joined us as well, we'll present for about 20 minutes. And then we'll open the floor to questions. So go out, get your questions ready. You'll notice at the bottom of your screen that there's a question and answer box. So you can use that to ask questions that we can either type to you or I will ask them at the end. So I'll moderate some of the questions at the end of the session. And other than that, we will get going. So I am immensely pleased to introduce Yasmin and Stephanie. So Yasmin Abraham is the co-founder of Kambo Energy Group, and Stephanie Drozda is a program specialist with the Climate Innovation Fund at Alberta Ecotrust Foundation. So welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I will hand it over to you for your presentation.
Thank you. Thanks, Alison. You're also one of our favorite people. Just want to make sure say that as well. Okay, everybody. So nice to be here again at Efficiency Canada Friday webinars. My name is Yasmin Abraham. My pronouns are she, her. I'm joined here by my esteemed and wonderful colleague, Stephanie Drozda from Alberta Ecotrust Foundation. I did just want to wish everybody a happy back to school week for all of us who are celebrating. If you had a meeting with me over the summer, you probably saw multiple children have tantrums in my office. And so I am certainly celebrating this week. Okay, let's get to it. Kambo and Ecotrust would also just like to acknowledge that we live, work, meet, and travel on the traditional territories of Indigenous people that have cared for this land now called Canada since time immemorial. Recognizing that our privilege and our lives really come at an unimaginable cost for Indigenous communities, both today and in the past. Today, we're talking about a program that aims to reduce energy poverty, which occurs at the nexus of inefficient homes, high energy costs, and low incomes. According to Stats Canada, 44% of First Nations people who live on reserve live in homes that are in need of major repair, and that's 3 times higher than a non-Indigenous person. Energy costs are typically 3 to 5 times that of non-Indigenous communities. And so certainly, I think for all of us, we consider solutions that address energy poverty to really be an opportunity for our sector and for our governments to take action and demonstrate our commitment to reconciliation. Okay, a little bit about energy efficiency in Alberta. Alberta is the only province or state without energy efficiency programs. There is no provincial agency delivering energy efficiency, and energy efficiency is not integrated into utility systems like it is elsewhere. So for lots of provinces, utilities deliver energy efficiency programs. In Alberta, that's not the case. Until recently, it was the only province without a low-income energy efficiency program. So programming for low-income households has been around since the early 90s in Quebec, and every other province does have one. Up until the Home Upgrades program, it was the only province without. And just a quick plug for our friends at the Alberta Energy Efficiency Alliance. They are doing some great work really advocating for energy efficiency in Alberta. So certainly encourage you to check that out and check out their reports on their website. Regardless of politics and regulations, people are still struggling. People are still struggling in their homes. 2016 census shows that 1 in 5 Albertans are in energy poverty. And those numbers, of course, are before COVID and before energy bills in Alberta really started to increase. For these households, they don't have the upfront capital to participate in rebate programs like Greener Homes. And it's not appropriate and it's not a great option for them to get into financing and to get into more debt. And so what this means is that there's really an opportunity based on this sort of vacuum of support for us to create a market-based and really community-driven solution. Talk a little bit about us, Kambo Energy Group. We are a minority-owned and run family-based, second-generation, family-run social enterprise committed to improving the home comfort, safety, and energy efficiency of homes in underserved communities. We were founded in 2009, really as a response to the lack of participation by marginalized communities in retrofit programming. We've been doing this work for a long time, long before words like climate change, equity, and even energy poverty were part of the language of our sector. Over the course of 14 years, we've worked with 60 First Nations, we've supported 70,000 immigrant households, and upgraded over 7,000 low-income households. All of our advocacy, program design, recommendations, and insights comes from years and years of being boots on the ground, of being in homes, talking to people across the kitchen table, signing them up for programs, helping them find their notice of assessment so that they can apply, and crawling through hundreds, if not thousands, of crawl spaces and attics. Kambo is home to 3 in-house programs: Community Power, Empower Me, and now the new home upgrade program, which we're talking about today. Community Power, just a bit about the other 2 programs. Community Power is focused on housing within Indigenous nations. We often say that communities don't have an energy efficiency crisis, we have a housing crisis. And so Community Power strives to ensure every Indigenous home is safe, comfortable, efficient, and built to last. We do this in partnership with Indigenous leadership to improve housing conditions with comprehensive housing assessments, sourcing project funding. We deliver housing upgrade plans, deliver construction partnership support, and energy efficiency upgrades. Empower Me delivers multilingual education programming to immigrant and newcomers to ensure that they can participate in programs. Empower Me is one of the longest running energy education programs in Canada. We've been supporting immigrant and newcomer communities continuously for 11 years now. Our work is across BC, Alberta, and most recently into Seattle. At Empower Me, we hire influential members of the community to design and deliver culturally appropriate multilingual education. We empower participants to make informed choices and to have access to all of the great programs that are out there. And the Home Upgrade Program, which we'll talk about today, delivers fully subsidized deep energy retrofits designed to reduce consumption and improve affordability for households in energy poverty. I just want to take a quick second to talk about the connection between Empower Me and Home Upgrades Program, because it really has been a critical part of the success. So Empower Me, as I mentioned, really creates pathways to the different programs that are out there. So our mentors will help folks take advantage of greener homes. We'll connect people with the utility consumer advocate. We'll make sure that they can talk to EPCOR and ENMAX and understand their services. And now they also, Empower Me also connects folks with the Home Upgrades Program as well. And now I will pass it off to Stephanie.
Thanks, Yasmin. So a little bit about our organization. Alberta Ecotrust Foundation is an environmental charity that for over 30 years has worked across boundaries to bring together engaged Albertans from industry, government, and the nonprofit and charitable sectors to inspire environmental action. We aim to initiate, support, and collaborate on scalable solutions that address multiple challenges at once, building on our longstanding ability to bring together a diversity of voices to collaborate on solutions to support environmental protection. Next slide. We're also a founding member of Low Carbon Cities Canada Network, which is a partnership of 7 cities across Canada with a goal to accelerate municipal climate action. So through that, we received an endowment from the federal government to launch our Climate Innovation Fund, and we have formal partnerships with both the City of Edmonton and City of Calgary to advance their climate goals within the cities. Next slide. So we have a unique combination of tools supporting a vast array of change making. So our foundation initiatives, of which the Home Upgrades Program is one. Through our foundation initiatives, we educate, train, build capacity, and advance solutions in the climate space. Our grants are provided to nonprofits in Alberta that are undertaking projects within our environmental priorities of climate change, land use, and water. We have an emerging role as a foundation with an endowment. And so we have an impact investing arm, which is focused on direct investing in low carbon opportunities in Edmonton and Calgary through things like project financing or equity. And then finally, we do advocacy, engagement, convening, and knowledge sharing to advance and expand policy development, research across federal, provincial, and municipal policy change. So as Yasmin mentioned, in Alberta, we do have this gap in energy efficiency programming. I just wanted to say kudos to the municipalities because they do have some energy efficiency programming like rebates, but we had a gap in programming for households that are experiencing energy poverty. We use the definition of energy poverty of households that are spending double the national average, which is 6% of a percentage of their income on energy bills to be in energy poverty. So struggling to afford to heat and power their homes. So in order to fill this gap, Alberta Ecotrust and Kambo have partnered to really meaningfully address energy poverty through the Home Upgrades program. So Yasmin will go in a little bit more into the program design, but with our organizations and our partnership, it's kind of unique. So Alberta Ecotrust, we lead the governance, evaluation, and reporting for the program, while Kambo leads the program design, delivery, and it really builds on the strength of our organizations and have allowed us to create a program that's really multi-solving in nature. So not only are we looking at improving the energy affordability for households, but also improving safety and well-being for them, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and stimulating local economic activity through engaging local contractors for the upgrade work. Next slide. So traditionally, these types of programs are designed by utilities or government and delivered by our consultant, but with our sort of community-led approach we've been able to build a coalition that includes a diversity of supporters and funders. All of these organizations have played a really important role in helping us lead this program. And so this approach means that we're able to achieve many more goals than any one organization could do alone. So from our supporters who have helped inform the program design and how we approach this, to the funders, of course, which have made this program possible. So across philanthropic organizations like McConnell Foundation, Calgary Foundation, Alberta Real Estate Foundation, to our municipal partners, City of Edmonton and Calgary, to utilities and corporate partners like Suncor. And of course, the community, which is the basis of why this is a successful program and why we're doing it. All of our community partners that we work closely with to engage the community members that need this program the most. All right, I'm going to pass it back to Yasmin to speak to the program design.
Thank you. Yes, I love speaking at Efficiency Canada webinars because I feel like I have an audience of energy efficiency nerds like me, and so that's a compliment. And so I thought probably folks want to hear about the program design. As Steph mentioned, really because there was nothing happening in Alberta when it came to low-income programming, it really created this opportunity to learn from all of the other low-income programs that have come before it and really develop a program based on all of the best practices and even more best practices across North America. And most importantly, this program is really developed and embedded from the community itself. So designed based on the needs of the community, first and foremost. Okay, let's get into program design. So the goal of the program is to reduce energy poverty through deep energy retrofits. For this reason, upgrades are selected to optimize the reduction of consumption on a per home basis over the budget of the program. So we assess homes in batches of 10 to determine the scope of work for each of them that optimizes the reduction of consumption in each. So each home receives the upgrades that are most appropriate for them. The energy saving measures we install are air sealing, fenestration, lighting, water saving devices, insulation, and heating system upgrades. We have a multilingual program uptake. So the website and all of the application forms are translated into 3 languages with more to come. Additionally, all processes and support is available in 11 different languages through EmpowerMe. So we have translators, we have support. If folks need somebody there during the assessment to speak a different language, we have all of that support available. We want to make sure that the target market can actually access this program. We have a local team delivering outreach, marketing, assessments, upgrades. We have HVAC and window contractors as part of this team. And we have a healthy health and safety budget. We know that if we're going to be delivering a program like this, we need funds to be able to support things like asbestos remediation and electrical work and drywall. So far, 100% of the homes we've upgraded have needed some sort of health and safety work to enable energy saving measures to take place. We have budget to upgrade 200 homes, 100 homes in Calgary and 100 homes in Edmonton. Of course, this is really, we're really excited and thrilled to be able to do this and have a big impact for these homes. But it's, it is a drop in the bucket when it comes to all of the homes that need support across Alberta. 300,000 households are struggling with energy poverty. And so the program systems and processes are really designed to scale up. We've designed this program to be able to upgrade hundreds of homes a year based on the need and based on the program design. Frequently asked questions. Okay, I tried to predict what the questions I would get, and so let me see how well I did. Okay, so who is eligible? So eligibility is really who's the target market? Who do we want to participate in this program? We are looking for households whose energy bills are unaffordable based on income, and which we can significantly reduce the consumption through energy efficiency upgrades. So we're looking at the people who live in the homes themselves, and we're looking at the homes themselves to figure out, will that home benefit from energy saving measures? Qualification. So what do we look at? What are the factors we look at to confirm people are part of this target market? We look at three things. So we look at the financial status of the applicant. We want to make sure that their income is less than twice LICO, and LICO is the low income cutoff that Stats Canada publishes every year around income. We want to look at the affordability of their energy bills and whether these bills are unaffordable. We look at three ways to do this. One, if their energy costs are greater than 5% of household income. Energy poverty is generally considered across Canada to be 6%. We chose 5% to make sure that the folks who are really just on the edge and are at risk of falling into energy poverty can get the benefits of this program to hopefully ensure they don't fall into energy poverty. We look at whether energy plus mortgage costs are greater than 30% of income, and that's a CMHC affordability metric. So CMHC considers if your mortgage and your energy are more than 30%, this is unaffordable. Or we look at whether the income is less than 1.5 times LICO. So folks who are really on that lower end of the income spectrum. And of course, we look at the homes. We look at how the homes are constructed. We look at what year the home was built, whether it's a single family home, a duplex, a townhome, etc., to really make sure that, if we walk in there, there's going to be things that we can do to help. Renters, the number one question for anybody working in energy efficiency these days. So low income programs, typically, if they're going to include renters, they typically lean on the rental protections of the province that it's delivered in. So we want to make sure that renters, as a result of participating in this program, renters don't have their rent increase, and we want to make sure that they're not getting rent evicted. In Alberta, the rental protections are some of the lowest in Canada. And so as a program, we don't have that backup to lean on with our policies and procedures. And so right now we are not including renters in the program because we feel it's too great of a risk for participants to participate without those policies at the provincial level. And also, it is a reputational risk and a political risk for our program partners. As part of the evaluation and reporting, Alberta Ecotrust Foundation is going to be including some of the ways that policies can change to allow programs like ours to include renters. Home assessments. Okay, so assessments leverage Community Power's Ethos software. This software has been developed working with thousands of homes in First Nations communities. It is based on HOT 2000, which is the same engine that EnerGuide uses, and also collects additional construction data. And the software is designed to create a scope of upgrades that optimizes the reduction in consumption over a batch of homes over the entire budget of the program. Okay, so what have we done? What have we done? We launched in mid-March, and so far we've had 673 applications. 64% of those applications are eligible. And for those who are not eligible, we don't just say goodbye. We make sure that they are supported as well. They receive education and workshops and coaching, and we'll help them access things like greener homes or other programming that's available in the market. Eligible applicants, their income is on average 52% than those low income cutoffs from Stats Canada. The average energy burden of our applicants is 16.5%. So just a reminder that energy poverty is 6%, which means that $16.50 of every $100 on their paycheck is allocated to energy bills. So these folks that we're working with, truly energy is a significant burden for them. 12% of our applicants list a language preference other than English or French. 35% of our applicants identify as a vulnerable group, so that's whether they're Indigenous, LGBTQ2I+, person with disability, immigrants, or others. 82% live in single-family homes. And so far, we have scheduled or completed 43 assessments or upgrades. I'm going to talk a little bit about the learnings, 3 kind of learnings that we've had in the last few months. We're definitely going to be sharing more, and as we get into homes, we will be pulling these together, but 3 ones that are really top of mind for us over the first few months of delivering this program. Okay, it wouldn't be a Kambo webinar without a baseball metaphor, so just because you build it doesn't mean they will come. I think it's hopefully pretty common understanding in our market that just because you offer programming that has free upgrades doesn't mean that people are going to trust that it's real. And we had no different with this program either. Many participants don't really believe that it's true that the upgrades are free. Our team in the field often says that people, when they leave and they're dusting and cleaning up after the upgrades, people will be standing at the door saying, "Are you sure you're not going to give me you're really not going to give me an invoice for this work?" Like, people really don't believe it until we're out the door. The other skepticism that we found, though, was within the industry itself, within the sector, with contractors and trade allies as we were ramping up the program and pulling in HVAC contractors. They were super skeptical of this program and what we were really trying to do at first. They really thought that we would be asking them to donate materials, to discount their services, or otherwise, help us spend their own time and money helping out. But after the first batch of homes, when those contractors got in and, we paid them on their invoices, and I think they really started to recognize the benefit to them of a program like this. And they really feel like they are involved in something good. And so as a result of this, the service is amazing, the installations are great, quality is awesome, and they've really become big allies and supporters of our work. The next piece is around the connection to Empower Me and the connection to the community. As mentioned, Empower Me has been working in Alberta since 2018, building that network, building connections, education, awareness, and trust within newcomer and immigrant communities. And so when the Home Upgrades program launched, there was really zero ramp-up time for awareness, and the applicants. Empower Me took that information, took the education about that program, and pushed it into the community. And word spread super quickly. And because our mentors, our energy mentors, have such a strong level of trust in the community, we really saw a lower level of skepticism with this group, that folks were really willing, not asking as much questions, really just trusting the network and the relationships we have that they will qualify for this program. We received, dozens of qualified applicants within the first few weeks, specifically because Empower Me had those networks. And the last one, my unicorn, really about the learning about finding the right culture fit of the team. And this is true. A group of unicorns is called a blessing. And it should just don't underestimate how really critical the team who is doing this work on the ground and in homes. You can't just hire any team to do this. You need magical human groups of unicorns who understand, the technical aspects of home construction. They have to have a strong sense of residential energy, and they have to have an almost unheard of level of emotional intelligence. So huge shout out to our own team, because you can design the best program, you can read 100 reports, you can talk to program agents across the country, but if you don't have a team who has the lived experience, who actually understands how to connect with people, how to navigate things like the embarrassment, the potential shame that people have, the vulnerability of having somebody in the home, and working with people with language barriers, with interpreters and translators. There's mental illness issues. But all through that, our team makes sure that folks understand what we are doing in their home and why. And ultimately, really, our goal is to provide them with the same level of world-class service that we would all expect if we're working with a contractor. And so really, if you don't have that team, that blessing of unicorns on your team, things can go south really quick for a program like this. Stephanie, back to you.
All right, so just to wrap up our presentation, so looking forward, so we're going to continue to complete our upgrades, gather learnings and data over the next year, but we're also going to engage our supporters, funders, community organizations, municipal partners, building sector organizations, and utilities to provide us with their input on how we can scale this up and establish it long-term across the province. So part of that will be creating a report that will encompass all of those learnings and our recommendations on policy and program design, which will really help us continue to build awareness of the need and the scale of investment necessary to continue this work. I do want to acknowledge that both the City of Edmonton and the City of Calgary have goals around addressing energy poverty, so kudos to them for that leadership. But we know that the need for the program of this nature is great across the province. So a little bit of a call to action. So we'll be reaching out to our community in the coming months to engage. So if you want to directly be involved in that and chat with us and provide your insights, we would welcome that. And I think that about wraps it up. There's lots of questions, so I think we want to make sure we have time to get through those.
As always, so many questions. That was incredibly inspiring and somewhat horrifying. Some of the statistics are just awful. And I think I can say that because I'm from Alberta. We are so very blessed, as you said, to have this work in our province. It's just such an incredible program that you're running. So with that, there are many, many questions. Let's get to it. I wanted to pick up quickly on something that you sort of mentioned towards the end, Yasmin, about the unicorns. And I think that is such an incredible lesson for program providers across the country about the vulnerability of this population when you go into their homes if they don't understand what's happening. How do you pick contractors based on that? Is there a certain criteria that you're looking for in contractors when you're asking them to go into people's homes?
That's kind of the magic. Yeah, it really is. It's so important to find the right people. We really take our time, and if we're not sure about a contractor, we don't go. We make sure that we're really sure about inviting them with us into people's homes. And so, our program setup took a little bit longer than we had anticipated because we wanted to make sure we have the right people. We don't want to just get the right folks. I think it's around, making sure that people have a lot of experience talking to people and being inside people's homes. Yeah. I'm happy to talk to anybody more about that, but it's a little bit of a gut feel too. If you have worked in this space long enough, you get a sense of how people will be talking to people, for sure.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, let's talk about designing programs across Canada and the US. So next question is, what have you learned through your experience in delivering and designing low-income programs across Canada and the US, which you learned or leaned on most heavily to match the needs of Alberta?
What a good question. It's like an Oprah level question. I think I will say, and then Steph, you jump in, but I think for us, it's that no one organization can and should do this. This type of support and the benefits of a program like this are so multi-solving. You're building jobs in the community. You're reducing GHGs, you're improving affordability, you're improving the health. And so with these multi-solving, it's so much more than just energy and energy efficiency and utilities, we've brought together community groups, foundations, utilities, cities, municipalities. Like, we can't do this by ourselves, and it has to be a group effort and leaning on the expertise of the people that know how to do this and know their area well. So I could leave one thing, that would be it.
Amazing. That is great advice. Okay, let's talk about the engagement for the program. So this person is just curious to know how you engage the community players. Do you have focus groups, meetings, surveys, other techniques? And could you give an example of how a community group has influenced the work you do?
Yes. So this is really the work that Empower Me does. And really, we start off our relationships with communities and community groups by coming to them, first of all, understanding their needs. So just starting to create relationships, going for coffee, hanging out, giving them a call, and starting to understand their needs. Often it's about education and support for their clients. So we will then come to them with Empower Me to say, we have workshops, we have education, we can support your clients. And in that way, you are creating a relationship where you're offering something to that community instead of starting that relationship by extracting knowledge, by extracting focus groups and information. So coming to that relationship with an offer that sustains the relationship. So by having workshops, by having education, we create these really deep, in BC, 11 years of relationships. Anybody can think of the people that you've known for 11 years, like you love them, you know them, you trust them. And really, I think it's about a community engagement strategy that really does center and lift up that community as an equal partner, and not just a partner that we need them because we need to get their clients.
Fantastic. Thank you. I think this is a question for you, Stephanie. I think it's in reference to the money that you received from the federal government. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yes.
You're in the background reading. I love that.
Yeah, I can see the question, so I'm ready. Yeah, so we are part, as I mentioned, of a pan-Canadian network known as Low Carbon Cities Canada. And so it's 7 cities across Canada. And this kind of was initiated on kind of recreating the model that has been successful in Toronto with the Atmospheric Fund. So we got about $40 million between Edmonton and Calgary to help support the city's climate goals. So it's an endowment. So some of that we are able to use for programming, but we do have pretty big leveraging and fundraising goals around that to amplify and leverage this funding. And so I don't know, I think part of the question was also how could others access it? In the future, if there is plans to kind of expand to other cities, but if you are in any of the cities, so Vancouver, Montreal, Ottawa, Halifax, Toronto, these centers exist. So there's possibility to collaborate with the other LC3 centers similar to Alberta Ecotrust.
Great answer. Okay, so the next few questions are kind of a little bit more into the weeds about the programming. So maybe we can go there now. So this one is based on how you prioritize applications. So is it based on a need or broader administrative processes, sort of like first in, first out, contractor availability? How do you actually prioritize the applications that are coming in?
Yeah, so it is need, a combination of the need of the resident and the opportunity to save energy. So we prioritize based on, the folks who need it the most, and that we have an opportunity to improve their housing the most, for sure. And, we have 700 applicants and 200 spaces. So it's really about finding those households that need it the most, for sure.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And this is a great question, Jonathan, because it occurred to me too that the baseline data you're collecting is pretty incredible for these different households, and you have access to sort of this market that it is tough to get a hold of the data. So what other building information are you collecting? Is there anything related to water consumption, wastewater, things like that? What are you collecting as you go in there?
Yeah, we're collecting information that supports improving the house and reducing energy, and that's really from making for the goals of the program. The examples Jonathan, that you typed in there. We are not collecting right now. I agree with you. There is so much opportunity. Like, just to get into somebody's home, there's so much effort and so much cost that needs to get us there. So while we're in there, let's look at if there's any leaking toilets. Let's look at all the other stuff for sure. I think, for sure Kambo's vision is around that. We just need the support to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Stella had a question about the utility bills. How do you extract the energy cost from the utility bill when you're conducting your eligibility checks?
We look at the dollars, the dollars that somebody is paying for their energy bills over the income. Is that answering your question? I can't see that question, so.
It's kind of down towards the bottom. I'm jumping around a bit. Okay, yeah, and if it didn't, then feel free to type in a follow-up question.
Yeah.
So Carol has a question about, are you seeing higher levels of energy savings per home than, say, a rebate program or single technology retrofit because of the ability to tackle multiple retrofits within a home at the same time?
We haven't done evaluation yet, so I'm going to caveat my answer with that. But certainly I think because we are using, this program is designed to figure out what upgrades will reduce consumption the most in the home, which is a little bit different than some of the goals of other programs that are out there. So with GHGs is an impact that we have, but affordability is first and foremost our goal. And so I expect that we will and see a greater impact. And some of our other programs have certainly shown that for sure.
Mm-hmm. And because you said you're sort of doing it on a 10-house basis, so does that provide economies of scale when you're purchasing different products that you're installing?
Exactly. Well, yeah, and we can go to the market and say, we're going to be upgrading 200 homes. We might need, 150 furnaces. And so those contractors, that's really how we engage with them. And we do 10 homes at a time and look at what those 10 homes need and how we should spend that budget for those 10 homes in the most efficient way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Monica has a question about income qualification. She's wondering what participants are required to provide to meet the eligibility requirements you've identified.
This is on our website, so if you go to the frequently asked questions, you can see it. I don't have it memorized, but generally we try to think of every potential way that somebody could tell us their income. So we looked at all the ways that other programs do it, included all of those, but just trying to make sure that that's not a barrier for folks, making sure that, if people don't have a pay stub, if people don't have the notice of assessment, they can go to a notary, they can, we will take a letter for the employer. So really trying to be cognizant of the barrier that can be for folks.
Thanks. Okay, so this is a really cool question. Are people outside of Calgary and Edmonton trying to apply, and what are you doing with those people?
They sure are. Yeah, we're definitely getting applications from outside of Calgary and Edmonton because rural communities experience energy poverty more, or the people in rural communities are more likely to be in energy poverty, just to be precise about that. We are letting them know that right now the program is not available in their area. We are taking their information. We're pointing them to education and other support, but certainly, it is our dream to be able to offer this program across Alberta.
Yeah, that would be incredible. And maybe in the future we'll see it. So we have a couple questions about the sort of checks, and I think you were saying that you haven't done any verification yet, but are there plans to do verification on some of the energy savings once the different upgrades have been completed?
Yes, so we do verify, execute the upgrades, verify them with QA, all of those processes are embedded, and then Alberta Ecotrust Foundation will be looking at those upgrades and evaluating things like affordability and GHGs and stuff. I don't know if you want to talk
Yeah,
about
so
more.
It'll likely be looking at their bills post upgrades. So we'll have that baseline from when Kambo did the initial assessment, and then we'll see the changes based on that. And there's a few ways we can look at it, like affordability and GHGs reduction, that sort of thing.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, I think we're sort of winding down here to the end of the session, unfortunately, and there are lots more questions in there. So I'm sure, Yasmin and Steph, if you're open to answering questions, I know, Steph, you were typing. I saw you typing in your email address to somebody's. Would you mind throwing your email addresses in the chat just so everybody can grab them?
Sure.
Yeah, you might just have to switch it to everyone, but I'm just going to encourage everyone, if we don't get to your question today, reach out to Yasmin and Stephanie. I think this is a pretty cool new program, and it's a pretty unique offering. So I think there are lessons to be learned across the board. And we are actually at Efficiency Canada starting a community of practice for low income practitioners. So lots of lessons to be shared and learnings to be shared. So maybe I'll just sort of end on this question. Stephen is wondering if there's an opportunity to collaborate with your organization on the design and implementation of programs.
Yeah, email us. Definitely. I think if folks want to collaborate, like I said, I think there's a lot of very smart and well experienced people in this country, and we can't do it alone. A utility can't do it alone. A city can't do it alone. A government can't do it alone. We need everybody. So certainly reach out, and always happy to chat. And I was happy to add to what I refer to as our NASCAR slide with like all of the logos. Yeah, let's.
I was going to ask, how can people help you do this better? How can they help you scale up? Is there a way that people can help either Kambo or Alberta Ecotrust scale this up?
If you live in Alberta, write to your political MP. Let them know that this program is important. Let the cities know. That's what I would say. I think it's like really helping the folks who have the ability to make leadership investment in a program like this know that this is important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And if you need the numbers of how many people in your political riding are affected by energy poverty, we've also got those numbers at Efficiency Canada, so you can reach out to us. That usually is a pretty strong message for leaders. Okay, so unfortunately, we're going to have to end it there. Thank you, everybody, for your wonderful questions. Again, please reach out to Yasmin and Stephanie. This has been recorded, so I would give it about a week and a half. It will be up on YouTube. It'll be available on our website. Thank you so much, Yasmin and Stephanie, for coming today. It's so uplifting to hear about this programming in Alberta and just the wonderful work that you're both doing to support it. So thank you, and we hope we get to chat soon and you get lots more questions from everybody on the line.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. And thanks everyone
for listening.
Everybody.
Yeah, take care. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.